There's a common conception out there that the God of the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, is a God of anger, wrath, judgment, punishment, as is given evidence through the story of the flood, or God dispersing the people, building the Tower of Babel, or his relationship with the Jewish people when they do things wrong in the desert, versus the God of Christianity in the New Testament, where God drops all these demands, and instead it's just about saying, if you believe in the salvation of the Saviour of God, then you basically have your place in heaven, and much of the demands and the wrath and the anger is basically dropped. So is this really a fair assessment? Is this a true caricature of the two different gods in the Old Testament versus the New Testament? The Old Testament, of course, being the Jewish people's God. So the Jewish people's perspective is that Christianity came along and it created a false premise and then shot it down. The false premise, it said, you know, all those mitzvot, those laws that you have to keep in order to get to heaven, well, guess what? You don't need to keep them anymore. If you believe in the salvation of Jesus, then you can get your spot in heaven. And many people turned around and said, really? Brilliant. Okay, this sounds a lot more straightforward. Why not? But what if the commandments, the mitzvot, were never about getting to heaven? What if that's a false premise? Who says that's what it's about? Unfortunately, for parts of Jewish philosophy and the Jewish world today, the main focus or reason or justification or motivation for keeping the laws and the mitzvah is so that you can create your olam haba, your next world, your eternity. But is that what it's all about? If that is what it's all about, it's very hard to make sense of this central phrase that we hear throughout the Torah. In fact, what is meant to be the central motivating factor when it comes to practicing Judaism, which is serving God. Service. Serving means doing something for another, catering to another's needs. I'm serving you. If these commandments weren't catering to God's needs, didn't in some way do something for God, then it wouldn't be service, it would just be annoyance. It would just be annoying God. If it's really just about getting to heaven, which really has nothing to do with our relationship with God, it's just about securing our own future, then it's not service at all. It's certainly not serving God, it's serving ourselves. So actually, imagine if you frame it like this. See how everything changes. I come along to you and I say, you know those 613 things that you can do for God, that God needs of you? Guess what? He doesn't need them anymore. Is that a good thing? Is that good news? No, it's not. The thing we need more than anything else in this world is to feel a sense of being needed. We've got it all backwards. If God creates the world, if I create something, that means I'm creating it because I have a need for it. And therefore, the created being, we are needed by him. There's something he needs of us. The mitzvot, the commandments, are things God needs of us. That's what the Jewish people's message was and is to the world. That's what was revealed to us at Mount Sinai. This whole idea of doing things because it's in order to get to heaven, it's a bit like marrying someone in order to get money from them, let's say. You marry someone for money, it's insulting. So I say, okay, I'll do these things for you, for God, and for our relationship so I can get to heaven. It's not really about the relationship with him. It's just like, it's like saying, can I really just get to heaven? It's like someone marrying for money is really just saying, can I really just get the money? So that's not what it's meant to be about. And if you think about it through that lens, through understanding that if God comes to us and he says, this is something I need from you. Now, some people come along and say, no, you can't say that God needs it. It's only for us. He doesn't need anything at all. And so I say, well, then what need is there to put us through all this suffering and challenge and to keep all these laws and rituals and the temple sacrifice? I mean, what's all this for? And they'll say, well, because God didn't want us to feel like we didn't earn the reward, because we would feel naturally like we didn't earn it. And I think, well, then why not just dupe us into thinking we have earned it? Why design us that way? If it's nothing to do with God's needs and God's sensitivities, God's own desires for some kind of connection, then why have you got to put us through all this? Just give us the reward straight away. The only way I believe you can make sense of it is by saying that if you create something, it's in order to serve a need of one's own, of the Creator. And so through that perspective, now look at the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. If God is angry with us, if he is provoked, if he is saddened by something that humanity does or a human being does, isn't that the greatest compliment to us in the world. It's only the people that you care about that can really upset you, the people that you're in some way vulnerable towards. So it's actually a great compliment. It shows just how sensitive and how much needing God is of every single one of us. It is in no way this angry, wrathful, judgmental God who's doing it from on high to be, just horrible and cruel. No, it's quite the contrary. What it shows, what the Hebrew Bible shows, is that this is a God of vulnerability, a God of sensitivity. Far from being this wrathful God, this is actually a God of immense care for every single one of us, who can be affected by what we do, and who very much craves a relationship with us, and therefore that makes him vulnerable because he's given us the choice to decide. So when you read the Hebrew Bible, when you read the Old Testament, rethink the tone in which you're reading it. So much of it comes down to just the tone that you're hearing it in. If God gets upset by us, that just shows us how much he cares about us. And the fact that God cares about us and is vulnerable to our actions, that's actually a bit scary. That's really scary. That I can upset God. But that's good scary, because it means I'm needed and I can build a relationship, a real relationship, a meaningful relationship where we can both do actions for one another with our Creator.